No one can tell a story like a horse can. This horse you're about to see here on the left, her name is Rain. She came to me from a previous trainer. Her owners had called me and told me when she came home they could not even get close enough to her to groom her. She was just a nervous wreck, scared to death. Just working in with her here, trying to get her comfortable with me just standing there enough so I can apply pressure to her head and just slowly, easily turn her toward me. It took about a week to get to this point. When she first came to me, she would not let me get close to her head whatsoever. It would take about 45 minutes to do what I did right there. And just going to put her halter on her. She's still a little weary, but she's allowing me to do it. She's not completely relaxed like I would like to see. Her ears are letting me know, hey, I don't like this. And then with each move I make, I'm trying to show her she can trust me. So I just want her to relax. Notice her ears here watching me. She doesn't know what I'm about to do. So I'm going to show her what I'm about to do. I am just displaying here how tense her muscles are, where she is just nervous, and she has every right to be nervous. And then when she realized what I was there to do, she lowered her head. Still keeping an eye on me though. You notice that right here. Her body's still tense, but she's getting more and more relaxed as I groom her. The most vulnerable areas of her body are her legs and her underbelly. So you want to be really careful grooming those areas of a horse that you don't really know much about and what that horse has been through. Check out her eyes. Horses are extremely smart. They know, and you can just tell if they've been through some bad stuff. Right here, it used to take me about 45 minutes to get her to the round pen. Trust, it does. It takes years to build and seconds to break. And accepting the changes, you have to accept things don't happen overnight with horses. They're highly intelligent animals, and they do not forget. When we come into the round pen, I give her space. I don't put her to work right away or work with her right away. I want her to, she just transitioned from the barn, and that was a big deal for her. The grooming and putting the halter on, walking from the barn to the round pen was pretty huge for her. So I just want her to relax for a minute and get settled into the round pen before we start our training session. You have to be very patient with them. If you want the best results, it takes time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send her off, ask her to move away, and just let her walk around. As long as she's moving, I don't care what she's doing, if she's walking, running, but I'm asking her just to go. Let's not smell around or anything now. Time's up. We gotta get to work here. So I'm going to continue to ask her to move her feet. Whether she walks or runs, it doesn't matter again. I am the herd leader, and I need her trust before we can go further to all those next training sessions. If I don't have her trust, it will not be a good on the trails, I can tell you that right now. So I'm moving her feet to gain her trust, because even though patience is a virtue, it is still my responsibility to show her leadership, show her that I have authority over what goes on in the round pen, and to show some assertiveness in the mix of all that. So she knows what she's supposed to be doing, and she knows what I am supposed to be doing. Turning around here, I'm asking her to go in the opposite direction now. She went a couple times in one, and I said, okay, let's go. This is what this means. And then I just back off. I'm still applying pressure with my body. I'm pushing on her hind end with my body by stepping forward. because she does have a tendency to want to stop. And I simply just say, no, this is my pasture and I want you going over there. Okay, I did not stop that time, and she wanted to go back again, so I had to say, no, this way. It's just a repeat and repeat with the horses. When I first started working with her, it was awful, just the state of mind she was in. Right here, just a few days into the training, I could already tell a huge difference. So she's got that water puddle there. A little weary of that, but that's okay. She's still walking, and I know that's going to be her sweet spot, so I am going to stop her there and reward her for going ahead and walking around one whole time without me having to push. Still a little tense, but hey, it takes time and persistence. Don't give up on them. Okay, here I want to get her used to going around as same as before, but this time just a little bit closer to me. And as she goes, I am going to give her more and more line on that lead rope to reward her and say, yes, that's what I want you to do. She was so weary of me being around her body, so cautious. She did not want me around her body, so that's what we did. Horses are highly intelligent. If a horse is trained to get by with something, over time he will be really good at it. Horses are not born with vices or behavioral problems. They are taught these things by people. She's slowly starting to gain trust in me now and realizing that I am a good herd leader. We are in a herd of 2 right now, and she can depend on me. Her head's dropping and she's getting more relaxed. She's starting to realize that, hey, this ain't so bad. As long as I move my feet and do what she asks, she'll leave me alone and let me take a break. This side right here, she was extremely cautious of this side. You should have seen the other side. Both sides were bad the first few days. This side here was her worst side. Always, always, always when you go to start a horse, train that horse to mount and dismount on both sides. I see this time and time and time again. Horses are shy of the side that you don't mount on the saddle. I keep applying pressure, applying pressure, applying pressure, letting her know I need her to get used to this side, because I'm going to work over here too. Just keep going. Keep applying that pressure until you get the right answer. So I'm going to release that pressure off of her, and when she goes again, give her some slack, because she is figuring out that this is what I want you to do. Yes, pressure and release. You apply that pressure, but apply it the right way. Horses are very good at reading body language. They are expert body language readers, and you don't need a whole lot of nonsense going on in your body for them to understand what you're wanting them to do. A horse can read body language better than anybody you will ever meet, and if you pay attention, they can teach you a whole lot about body language. Here I would just like for you to pay attention to her body language. Horses notice and watch every single move you make. She's still tense, but we're still going to continue the training process because I need her to know that she can trust me, and we've got to do this. Here I am preparing her for when it is time to introduce her to her bit in her bridle. I always ask the owners, do you want me to start your horse with or without a bit? It's up to them. I can do both. This particular owner wanted me to start her with a bit, then that's fine. So, when the round pen, we do a few exercises, and this is one of them, and that is applying pressure and then releasing the pressure when you get the right answer. When I go to put a bridle on a horse, I want that horse to lower their head when my hands are up there putting the bridle on. But sometimes I ask for a little bit extra, push them a little bit. Why I am fooling with that area up there is because she, again, is very head shy. You should have seen the first 2 or 3 days. We have worked our way up to this. I would go to the barn 5:30 in the morning to feed, just so I can get started early enough before it got hot, because her sessions would take so long the first 2 or 3 days. She sees, I believe there was a dog running down the road. And right now I'm just kind of fooling around with her mouth. It is important for her to get used to that area. Don't worry, I'm not pinned between her and the round pen like it looks. It's just the way the camera's sitting and zooming in. The next step, once she does good with the applying pressure on her pole at the top of her head and her bridge of her nose, I do not introduce a bit at first. I do the lead rope like that right there. All I want her to do is get used to my hands being up there, and when she feels something touch her lips, to go ahead and open her mouth. And here we are practicing with the pretend bridle, taking it on and off. And she's doing a wonderful job. She sees some of the horses up in the pasture. You do it as much as it takes to get your horse to understand what it is that you guys are going to be doing together. So there's my bridle, and when that touches her lips, I just want her to learn to open her mouth. And I'm showing her by putting my thumb in there that I just want you to open your mouth. And it's just baby steps, working your way up to the end result. You cannot start a horse in just a few days, and especially a horse that's been to a previous trainer and come to you all screwed up. Alright, we've got the guys and girls coming down getting their breakfast. The horses that lived on the farm stayed turned out, and we're coming to the barn every once in a while. They like being outside. They like roaming their territory. And you think you know something until you try to figure out a horse. There was a point when I realized that I needed to become a student of the horse myself. They're all so different. It's like meeting a new person each time you meet a horse. A new personality. And you'll never know it all. I will never know it all either. So this is where we get to putting on the bridle. Once you get good at getting that lead rope on and getting them to accept the lead rope, go ahead and introduce the bridle. Here I'm just adjusting it, just trying to get her used to having her head full with. Some people may be saying I'm overdoing it, but if you would have seen her first couple days, you would agree that I am not overdoing it. So, when I'm in the saddle and I want her to turn to her left, what am I going to do? I'm going to apply pressure and ask her to turn to her left. I'm going to apply pressure on her body and apply pressure on her mouth. So if that's the result I want, then I need to practice that on the ground and get her mentally used to The pressure release, the pressure release. What I am asking you, and what are you doing? Still a little shy on that side, but we're going to work on it anyways. Especially when I would raise my arm up. Anytime, even just a slight raise of my hand to turn her, she would want to spin. Just a slight raise even of my hand. It took a while. Just as long as she gave into, I said, you know what, as long as you give into the pressure and turn, I'll pull, you turn, I'll let go. So that's what I started doing with her, and it eventually did work out pretty good that way. And here I just want to, if I'm out riding her, I may have to ask her to back up. I want her to get used to that pressure and what that means now, not when I'm in the saddle. Each part of starting a horse is a proportion. The halter is one proportion of your training. That's one whole category by itself. So is the bridle. And so are your reins. 3 different categories right there you need to train to start that horse the right way. Because you still have the saddle blanket and the saddle and the girth and the stirrups to go. Okay, so if we're out on the trails, I'm just going to fill you in on something right here. When we first started this, she did not want nothing to do with that stick or that bandana. She would be jumping sideways trying to get away from that thing. But I want her to get used to it because I want her to build confidence in herself again, and I want her to know that this is not supposed to be a bad thing. This is supposed to be a good thing that you enjoy. And so we kind of make little games out of it, but it also helps her because when we go up in the woods and a bird flushes or something like that, she at least, even though she may spook a little bit, she is already sensitized to some movement already. Some people call this right here sacking out. I don't know what you call it. All I know is it's just desensitizing her to movement and the sound of the flap of the handkerchief there, bandana, and it helps them when they get it. You're just preparing them. It's polite to do that. If I was going to go on a trip, I would want somebody to prepare me. If they did not prepare me and tell me what the weather was going to be like, that way I knew what kind of bags to pack, I would not be very happy when I got on that trip. And horses are no different. You prepare them for being in the saddle. You prepare them for where you're going to be riding them to. Don't just throw them out there to the sharks, and the wolves, coyotes, whatever you want to call them. Get them ready. Let them know what the trip is going to be all about and what could possibly happen, and you're covering all the bases. That right there is a plastic bag on the end of a stick. Same thing, same reason. That one is just a little bit more intense. The bandana is kind of like a starter. And then this one is a little bit more intense because of the sound. And you always want to make sure you go all over their body, because you want your horse to trust you around its legs and its underbelly. You never know when you're going to have to be in those areas. So go ahead and get your horse to trust you with them now. Alright, here the reason why I do the tarp on the ground is because horses see dark areas and light areas. See the sunlight shining through the tree there? For hers, it looks like different depths. Well, it's when she puts her feet on it, she realizes that it's not water. But it's just the idea of it. We will work with the water later. I just want her to get the idea of it. Again, this is a different part of starting a horse under the saddle. There are so many areas to work on before you ever even think about putting that blanket on that horse. You have to prepare them. It's only fair. I'm giving her slack in the line of the lead rope. She's a little nervous, so she's gonna poop. And she's been doing that walking across the tarp since we started training. Again, like I said, we're a few days into training now. But she didn't poop as much as what she was. The lead ropes fell there. That's okay. I seen them fall. And there's no knots down there around her legs. There's one at the shoulder. And that wrapping around hitting her legs is good to do it. It's good that it fell, really, because she's getting used to that feeling around her legs. And this right here is just trusting me to back up into that dark spot. Believe it or not, working with a tarp, you can work with a tarp and then work with a horse on into loading and unloading in the trailer the same way. Works good for that too. Now, once you get all the other bases covered, you show them the blanket. Again, we are a few days into training, so I have already prepared her and got her used to everything. I will not be riding her in this video. She is not ready for that yet, or she wasn't at this point in the training process. When we very first started this, as soon as I would lift my hand up with that saddle blanket, she would take flat off, trying to get out of that round pin. That's why I've got a lead rope in my hand in case she decides to take off. And she's doing very well. Time, patience, persistence, and routine. Horses thrive on that. And she's just watching me. She said, okay, I got it now. So I know tomorrow, the next day, we can go on in to the next step. And that would be putting on the saddle. She done so well with the saddle blanket this training session. The next day, which was tomorrow in this video, the next day whenever I went and worked with her, I went ahead and started getting her used to the saddle on top of everything else. Just proportionary training, which is starting a horse under a saddle. There's Oreo in the background. He's a little pony. And he was watching what was going on there. And Rain sees him, but she's paying attention to me. Still a little shy on that side, but hey, look how much better that was from the beginning of the training session to the end of the training session. Huge difference in just one training session there. Don't get in a hurry. Don't get frustrated. See how my body's relaxed, my shoulders are relaxed? That's because she's doing the right thing. And I don't need to be applying a lot of pressure if she's doing what I'm asking her to do. She's still wanting to stop. The horses are out there, and I understand that, but if we were on the trails, I couldn't just let her stop because if something was there. So I just need her to trust me enough to have respect enough to listen. And respect goes both ways with horses. It's a two-way street. Don't expect your horse to respect you if you're not going to respect your horse, because it's not going to happen. Somebody will get hurt eventually. The horse or the person. And it's just not a good thing all around. I always, at the end of the training sessions when I'm starting a horse, I went in with her like nobody had ever done it before. I just wanted to redo everything all over again. I don't know what happened with the previous trainer, but I just wanted to do it my way and start all over, give her a fresh start. Every horse I started on the saddle, you always want to work with her legs. A lot of people tend to forget about their legs. Well, they're going to need shoes, they're going to need trimming. They may get something in their foot. You want to make sure you work with their legs. Yes, I know that is risky and it is very dangerous. But if you don't work with their legs, it could be even more dangerous. I'm going to apply pressure. There, right there. Now I'm going to reward her and let go. I'm going to do it one more time. And reward her and let go. And leave it at that. You don't have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Baby steps, just a little bit at a time. And tomorrow when we work together, I will do the same thing. And guess what? Each time you do it, it gets easier and easier and easier for the horse, and easier and easier and easier for you. I don't even care if she put her foot out there. I'm just glad that she gave in to my pressure. The end of her 30 days, she was a completely different horse, and her owner was very, very grateful and humbled to see her horse again. And not only her horse again, but horse she could ride. That was my horse Cash. Just a snapshot of us out on the trails. I had him since he was 18, 19 months old. I started him on the saddle, and I was the only one that ever rode him up until the last 2 months he was with me. I can relate to the horses. It all started from a picture I saw on the counter on my mother's friend's wall when I was a little girl. To me, it was the most beautiful picture I'd ever seen. The eyes of that horse told a story of untamed freedom and a sense of mystery, and I was completely hooked, and that is so true. First time I saw a horse was in a picture, and just the freedom and the sense of mystery that I grasped from that picture, I was hooked that day, and still am. Alright, that's all for now, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Big thanks to Peggy Smith at PS Photography. Y'all go check out her Facebook page.